Alright, so you join me for a bit of a different video this time. I'm down at Embryo's Norton Disney for a little match, which is unlike anything that I normally do. I'm here with one of the other Nutrabaits team members, Richard Logan, and the reason is Nutrabaits have decided to do a bit of a match series this year between its team members, and I've drawn against Richard for the first round. So we're here on Stocks Lake. The plan was to fish billies. We got here this morning and it was really quite busy. The queue to get in at the gate before it opened, there was like 20 cars maybe coming in. We had little ticket numbers and everything to get in order. So we didn't really get where we wanted. The swims on billies that control the main water were all taken. So we've ended up on Stocks Lake. It's a lake I've never fished before. I've only been on the complex once before when I fished Hodgetts years ago. So yeah, it's got a lot of fish in this lake. I think 700 odd fish in 8 acres. So there's a good chance for a bite or two hopefully, but we've ended up in pegs 4 and 5. I'm in peg 4. And it controls a little bit of water behind me, and the bailiff said that a few days ago there's quite a few fish up this end and they were showing, and it's not really been fished since, so we thought it's as good as anywhere on a busy complex to set up down this end. We had a little flip of the coin to decide on the swims, and Richard wanted to go into the one next to me, so he's in there and I'm in peg 4, and it's looking quite good. But this end of the lake is fairly shallow. There's not too much to it, but there's a big gully over the other side, and then it goes really shallow again. So I've just set up 3 solid bags out into those channels, hoping to pick off a fish to start with, or until we see something else to go on. So yeah, the aim for this match is total weight, so not most fish or biggest fish, it's total weight overall. 48 hours, winner goes through to the next round. So hopefully we'll have a few fish to show you. I'll have a little chat with Richard later on in this video if he's up for it, look through his tactics as well, and yeah, just see how we get on. As I say, I've never really done any matches before, so something new for me. Fingers crossed we win it and go through to the next round, and then we'll have another video somewhere else with someone else, so that'd be quite exciting in my opinion. So yeah, that's it for now. See if we get a fish. If not, we'll run through all the tactics with you and go from there. Alright, so here we go, off the mark with the first one, a 17-pound 2, first fish of the match. Came to just a solid bag, one of the plum and enbuteric pop-ups, one of the new ones from Nutrabaits. It's a proper dumpy looking mirror. Did not think it was 17 pound until we weighed it. There we go. Not a bad looking fish, in good condition for a day ticket, which is nice to see. Covered in leeches, but it's that time of year. Just spin it around, have a look at the other side. We haven't seen anything between the two of us since we got here, so we were not particularly expecting it to go off, and I stood in the other swim chatting to Richard, and away it went. So that's a good sign that there's still fish down this end. There we go. A few nice scales on it. Weird dumpy looking fish, but yeah, hopefully it's the sign of things to come for a few more. We'll slip this one and get another solid bag out there. Alright, so good morning. It was a really quiet night for both of us last night after I had that fish late yesterday afternoon out of the blue. We've hardly seen anything. I had one show just down to the left of me last night, and that's about it. It's been really quiet. Apparently the whole complex has been fishing really slow, so the bailiff said. I think that fish I had was the only fish that's been out of the lake so far since we've been here, so Yeah, it's been really hard going, but I'll just talk you through the setup that I had that fish on. It's a really simple solid bag setup. So this is the simple rig. I've been starting to use the Gemini tidy stems for my solid bags, and what these are a stem insert that you put inside your inline lead, and they just have a little loop on the top, and that means you can quick change solid bags on and off. So in a bucket I have loads of my solid bags tied up on these stems, and then when I want to recast or I've had a fish, I can just, with a figure of 8 loop knot on the main line, I can just unloop the old solid bag stem and link on a brand new one, and then straight out onto the spot. So it's a really quick and efficient way of fishing solid bags. It means you can have them already tied up, you don't have to faff around. As soon as you've had a fish, you can just get it straight back out there with a brand new solid bag. So the actual rig itself is really simple, 4-inch section of supple braid, and then at the hook end we have a 6-inch wide gape, with a little bit of silicone trapping the hair down, and this is a little 12mm pop-up from Nutrabaits. The one I had the fish on last night was one of these pink plum and N-butyric acid pop-ups. It's one of their new ones. They smell a mixture of really nice and also pretty awful with that acid smell in there, if you know what it is. It's then got a bit of shrink tubing just to bend it round to help set that hook, and then just a little shot to help pin everything down so it just sits up in the bag nice and neatly. So yeah, it's a really simple setup inside the bags themselves. So this is one tied up ready to go. This is some of the trigger ice carpet feed in the bottom, and then we've got some 4mm pellets, and then topped back off at the top with some more carpet feed. The reason why I do it like this rather than just chuck it all having it in the layers, is at the bottom, having the carpet feed, I can cover the hook and the hook bait in the bottom there, so it's not going to get dinked on any pellets, just to be sure. It's also really compact. I then put a layer of the 4mm pellets in there because it helps get all the air out, but also it means that I can inject liquid into these solid bags really easily. They'll fill in around where the pellets are and just hold liquid really nicely. So I've been injecting some of the trigger ice booster liquid in there, and then I top it back off with some more carpet feed because it can really compress this down and it gives you a really nice solid tight bag to tie a knot around at the top. So yeah, it's a really simple setup. I've had that fish already yesterday. Keeps me in the lead with just one fish. Not really a prolific match so far, but when the lake's fishing really slow, you've got to do all you can to try and nick a bite. So solid bags have done that for me so far. Hopefully we can nick a few more today and have a few more fish to show you in a little while. Right, so it's now lunchtime, and I thought I'd just give you a little update where we are with this match. It's not fully gone to plan for me, but things have really picked up for Richard in the last couple of hours, and he's now had 2 fish, so he's taken the lead from me in total weight, and I'll slip in some clips of him with those fish now and playing them. So there we go, there's a couple of fish that Richard had earlier. So as I say, he's taking the lead from me now, so I'm going to need at least another fish to take the weight back. I can't remember quite where we are, but he's probably about 10 pounds, something like that, ahead of me. So with the average size of fish in here, it's only one fish really, but yeah, he had those 2 in quite quick succession. So whether the fish have moved down, passed down to where he is in the end bowl section. So hopefully there'll be a few more for him, and hopefully for me too. Hopefully a few more for me than him, obviously, so that we can take the win into the next round. But yeah, for me, didn't really go to plan. I saw a fish roll round to my left, just at the bottom of a shelf in this margin, and I flicked a solid bag out to it. About an hour later, I got a few bleeps on it. Jumped out of my bivvy, and there was a pike in the shallow margin in front of me. It's dune clear, and he was wrapped around my line. Somehow swam into it and got it caught on his gills or something. So I had to reposition that rod out again, fresh solid bag, and I've scattered out a few of the triggerized solubles that Nutrabaits have released around it. They look like a boilie. They're made up of very similar ingredients to the standard boilies, but they break down within a few hours. So my plan is around that solid bag just to trickle a couple of those in every hour or two, just to keep the attraction in that area, and fingers crossed that'll bring a result, because that's the second fish we've seen down in this margin now. One chew last night in a similar kind of area, so fingers crossed that'll produce a fish for me. The other two rods are on solid bags again, over to the far margin at 15 wraps, just at the bottom of the shelf there where it drops down to a deepish hole. That's where I had the fish from yesterday, so I've got two rods positioned over there, and fingers crossed that will produce another bite. So, ooh, we're away. Oh, it's that pike again. Thing. Alright, so you just seen me make a bit of a tit of myself, jumping up and launching from a rod, and turned out to be that pike getting caught in my line again in the margin, just as the bailiff came round. So absolutely typical in it. Not really sure, the line's kind of fished quite slack because I'm fishing quite close in down a shelf, so I want my line to sink down there with fluoro, and whether that pike's just coming out of these reeds to the left of me and not seeing it and just going for it, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to do something about it if it happens again, because I don't want him snapping me, biting through my line or anything, or getting caught in his gills. So hopefully he's learnt his lesson, he'll keep away. As I say, rods are out, probably redo them in a few hours before we head into the evening bite time, and then through the night. Fingers crossed we'll have a fish to show you before then anyway. So good morning, you join me on quite a cold morning today. It's been a really slow night once again for me and for Richard next door. I got taken out in the night at about midnight by a tower on my far rods, so I had to redo those. So other than that, we haven't really seen a lot. It's been really quiet since Richard had that little flurry of fish yesterday. He also had one, and it came off not long after the take, so it was 3 bites for him and just the one for me really in the end. So we've not a lot going on down here. We've got about an hour left until the end of our little match, and we've got to be off the complex, so started packing down, just the rods out now. And yeah, you never know. I mean, the rods are still out there, but it's really not looking very hopeful. But hopefully you've enjoyed this little video. It's really good to be back out making films again. Hopefully this is going to be the first of quite a few coming out over the next few weeks, as I've got various different trips and things planned and lined up, as long as the weather plays ball. Tomorrow is meant to be snowing, so the temperature last night really dropped, so I don't think that's helped us. Apparently the whole complex fished really rubbish this last few days. I don't think this lake's done many other fish by all accounts from the bailiff when he walked round, and apparently everywhere's just the odd fish coming out, so we just called it unlucky. We're lucky we've both had a few, not a few for me, but we've both had bites. We haven't blanked, and it's been nice to meet up with Richard. Really good angler, nice chap, and really good to meet new people really. I don't get to fish with a lot of new people all the time, so yeah, it's good to get out there and meet new people in fishing. So yeah, that's probably it, unless we have a last flurry of action towards the end of this match and things change. That's probably going to be it for me now. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, remember to click like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.